Okay, I've been on a instrument acquiring kick again, so I wanted to take a little video and show everybody some of the things that I've gotten um, recently. The first thing I want to start out with is this. This is called a sordoon. Um, it's a double reed. Notice that the double reed still fits on a bocal that fits into the end of the in a hole in the end of the instrument. And the other thing, notice, is that there is no hole down here because this is there's a whole family of instruments, as you'll see with the rest of the ones, where the bore comes down one side, makes a U-turn, and then comes up the other side. So the actual sound comes out here. So this is really the end of the bore. Um, there's a whole family of instruments that are done this way, and they're done this way so that um, they can they can be very short, but they can still sound very low. Um, Another thing that is interesting is that because of the way this bore works, you have additional holes in some places that you wouldn't normally have, like on a clarinet or something like that. So you have a hole here that you play with your finger, but you also have a hole here that you play with the fleshy part of your finger. Most of these additional holes, you don't really use them until you get really low. But it is just one of the things that's kind of strange about these types of instruments. Um, this is one of the reeds that came with this. It was used. This instrument was used, and so I've been kind of working on it to see if I can get it into better shape. But it's still squawking a little bit and acting up. So we'll see how well it works. Anyway, you get a little bit of a sound, an idea of the sound. So this instrument actually is interesting because whereas for a lot of the other Renaissance instruments, there are some that exist somewhere, so they can go and make try to take measurements and make a copy. But this one was only talked about in a couple of music treatises. So instrument makers have tried to go through and reproduce it totally without any kind of models to work from. So that's the sordoon. The next one is this, which is called a quarthold. Um, it looks very similar to the sordoon, um, and it works the same way. There's no hole in the bottom, and the bore makes a U-turn. This is from a family of instruments that are called wind caps, and the reason they're called that is because the reed is inside a chamber in here. This is hollowed out, and so you don't ever the performer doesn't ever put the reed in your mouth or anything like that, like you do normally with a bassoon. But it's the same sort of thing. The vocal makes a U-turn. The sound comes out here. It has the additional little fingering holes. This reed, once again, the reed that I got this used, and the reed that came with this was kind of not in good shape. So we'll see. I can get the low notes out. So it sounds the same. Sounds very much. It's lower. Same sort of buzzy kind of sound. So this is a quarthold, and there's a family of these. There's like this is a bass, and there's a tenor one, and I think there's a soprano one as well. Uh, these next ones are interesting uh, instruments. They're called rackets. They look very. I had someone say this looks like a water pipe, um, but whereas in the earlier two, the bore only made just one loop. In rackets, it makes several loops up and down as it goes around, um, and that's why this is called in German. This is called a sausage bassoon because it looks like a bunch of link sausages linked together. But it's the same idea. They have extra holes. Um, when they started making these, someone came up with the bright idea of putting these little tubes out so that when you're trying to play these extra holes, it's a whole lot easier to reach them because you're not having to cramp your hands up like this to get these extra holes going. This was pretty loud. I can't get the note out. So this is the bass racket. Um, it is a Baroque instrument, and the difference between the Baroque and the Renaissance you'll see in a second. But one of the main things is that the Baroque had added this vocal to it, uh, which is nice because the condensation then uh, gathers in here, and you can empty it out very easily. Um, the last instrument is also a racket. This is a great bass racket, and it works similarly to the previous one, except it doesn't have the vocal, and it's a octave lower, so it's very very low. But it's very soft. It's not loud like the one that I just finished with. Where's the hole? There it is. Sounds like Little Brown Jug, but you can tell how low it is. And these would be used with uh, in groups of instruments where they would be playing um, a little dance music and stuff like that. People would be dancing pavans and that sort of thing. And it was used for the bass line because a lot of the bass recorders and things like that they're not very strong. So they need something strong down there on the bass. So these are the ones that I've had recently: the Great Bass Racket and the Sordoon. I forget where I put it. So those are the most recent ones. But anyway, so that's what I do with my time.